The early hours of a game are often the most crucial ones. It's in these moments that a title can show its potential, hinting at interesting story beats and start making us feel good as we start understanding the core mechanics. We had a largely positive preview for Italian indie studio Drakkar Dev with Blackwind, an interesting mix of dungeon crawler, hack and slash, platformer, puzzle game RPG, and many more. But something went sideways along the way. But let's not rush to the conclusion. What is Blackwind even? Well, let's find out in our review. As mentioned in our preview last week, it tells a fairly simple story on the surface. A young teenager finds himself ordered by his dad to escape an out-of-control spaceship on board a highly technological AI-controlled humanoid robot. Something with a shape reminiscent of a Gundam or a Transformer. He has no combat experience whatsoever, but the quest to find his dad and other possible survivors on a hostile planet will put him in a situation bigger than himself, making him learn to deal with danger. These, of course, mainly present themselves in the form of robot enemies, vaguely shaped like humanoids, bugs, animals, and more. To beat them, players can combine devastating melee and laser blade attacks, rockets, lasers to shoot, and all kinds of special moves, with many more that can be unlocked throughout the meaty campaign by picking up colored energy spheres, spendable in save points that also function as upgrade areas. While the controls aren't always particularly responsive, which can become an annoyance when trying to pull off a specific combo, the high-octane pace, explosions, and devastating Doom-esque glory kills make for an exhilarating gameplay loop. In between these high-speed battles, however, the game's pacing can come to an absolute crawl. Whereas the first hour of the game implied fun exploration and platforming to come, this usually turns into tedious fetch quests, long backtracking, and most importantly, the controls and level design are simply not good enough for the lengthy travels players need to prepare for. Players frequently find themselves hunting for objects to interact with, timed elevators to catch, jumping between platforms, and so on, but the unresponsive controls and an abundance of dodgy borders and invisible walls rapidly turn these parts into infernal chores, and they drag on, with open-ended areas featuring no minimaps and distant checkpoints and fast travel points. Minimaps exist in the game, however, and it's when people enter underground bases, which function effectively as RPG dungeons. These areas are unfortunately devoid of all the visual creativity and invention of the other zones, and these take the most time of the playthrough by far since they are enormous mazes with even more backtracking, doors to find, fetch quests, and even mini-games controlling drones and other parts that frankly feel like major wastes of time. In these claustrophobic mazes, even the otherwise fun fights turn into endless waves of repetitive combat, since the level designs never change and the enemy variety isn't high enough to encourage all the moves in your arsenal, favoring the use of a few shockingly effective combos ad nauseum. This is legitimately a shame, because the combat model offers exciting moments, but way too often they overstay their welcome. And if a mistake is made and an early death is met, the risk of replaying lengthy segments because of sparse checkpoints is devastating for the soul. There's a basic local co-op mode as well, reminiscent of the one seen in Super Mario Odyssey, where player 2 can only control a handy drone that can shoot and explore certain areas, but it's not as fun as an actual proper two-player experience would have been at all. And most importantly, it does not fix the game's issues. The potential for something fascinating was there, but unfortunately the game's first hour gave me a false impression, as the promising combat model and exploration became a repetitive, prolonged slog, way before the credits ended. And it's just too bad. Liking, commenting, and subscribing helps a lot, but the best way to help our channel is to visit us on Patreon at XboxEra. We'll see you here next time.